What's going on, guys? Got another comic book haul video for you. Got a stack of books here. Most of these are from a small convention here in Louisville about a month ago, probably now. Like a week or two after the Super Bowl, I think. It was a small show. There were maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 vendors, and of those, maybe 8 or 9 had comic books. So not a ton of stuff. But there's a couple vendors with some dollar boxes, so that's what I stuck to, and that's what I got most of. But first, that's not what this book is. I've got 5 books here from a store over in southern Indiana. I think it was one over in Clarksville. It's called Hollywood Games and Movies. It's kind of a mom and pop, or independent, I guess, GameStop. They have video games, movies, mostly video games and movies, yeah. But I mean, like, all kinds of older stuff, like dating back to Nintendo and everything. So that's pretty cool. They even had VHS tapes and regular DVDs in addition to, like the Blu-rays and stuff. And they also had a few boxes of comics. So I went through those and found some interesting stuff. And these were all $1. So I'll get started here. This Masters of the Universe number 2 or 3. This is just the, I think this is the first miniseries that DC did. The He-Man stuff back in the 80s, so this is my first copy, or first issue in this little mini-series, so I was happy to find that. It's got a cool He-Man Skeletor cover with Castle Grayskull there in the background. Got this one. This is Brain Boy, The Men from Gestalt, number 1. I just picked this up. It's a relatively recent, I think this was like 2017, just a 4-issue mini-series. Freddie Williams II did the artwork on the cover, and he did the interior art as well, so that's why I picked it up. This is some of his early stuff, so I was happy to find that. It's the story. I read this first one. The story's okay. It's kind of this Brain Boy, this guy's a telepath who gets contracted by the Secret Service, so interesting idea. I'm not sure if it's gonna hold up with the execution, but the art's really good, so I was happy to find that. Then got Body Count number 4, this mini-series that Kevin Eastman and Simon Bisley did back in the mid-90s, more of the PG-13 to R-rated, I guess, Ninja Turtles, kind of the throwback to the original stuff, pretty violent. I think Casey Jones basically gets shot in this one, pretty brutal. There's Wrath there holding Casey after he gets shot. And then the cool thing about this one is that the colors were done by Steve Levine, who did, there's the first page, who did the colors and a lot of the art on the Ninja Turtles cartoon and the Ninja Turtles Adventure books, so the Archie books. So you can see that the colors are kind of like that, and the weird Simon Bisley art. But pretty cool stuff, and it's a newsstand edition, so the spine's a little ticked up, but for $1, I'm not gonna complain. Alright, and then the last 2 books are the weird stuff. So this first one is Hit the Beach. This is a pinup gallery of different, I guess they're not furries, because they're not people dressed up as furries, they're just anthropomorphic animals like cats and stuff and horses. So the reason I had to buy that, because I didn't want to only buy one furry book and be that weirdo, so this was the first one I saw. This Hit the Beach Furry Swimsuit Special number 1 from 1993. And the reason I got this one is they were talking about this on the CBSI almost 10 a couple months ago. This art is the first interior art by Terry Moore, the creator of Strangers in Paradise. So that's why I grabbed it. I'm going to try to sell this. There's a couple copies listed on eBay for like $40 or $50. There's a graded copy for like $500, but this one's got a tear there. So that one's not, I'm going to just try to flip that one for like $20 or something. So there's just this weird furry book. This is what happens when you watch YouTube channels. I hope I don't inspire anybody to buy furry books. That's the last thing I want to do. But I feel kind of strange buying it. And the poor girl at the Hollywood games and movies counter, she didn't know what to do. She was like a teenager, early 20s, had 2 furry books, so I felt very, very bad for her. So anyway, just some goofy independent stuff. This one is not really a pinup issue. It's got some pinups in there, but it's got, excuse me, some stories and stuff in there. It does have some artwork by Ben Dunn, that Ninja High School guy, so that's pretty cool, but just weird stuff that I'm going to try to flip. So that's all I got from the Hollywood Games and movies. And then this last stack of books, these are all from that comic show that the Comic-Con that I was telling you about, the local one. These are all dollar books I picked up from 2 or 3 different vendors. This first one is Backlash and Spiderman. I like my crossovers, so that's 1 of 1 and 2 of 2. I'd never seen this before, and it's got Brett Booth drawing Spider-Man, which I was really happy about. He's one of my favorite artists, and he does the interiors on both of these as well. And this first issue has a cool wraparound cover with, it's got Backlash and Spider-Man over here, and Venom, and I can't remember that guy's name. He looks like Deadpool, but he's a Venom a villain from Stormwatch. So just really cool cover there, and a fun crossover that I hadn't seen before. Just really happy to find those. And then there was an ad for Netcom, that old internet service provider, if you guys remember, in that one too, that I thought was funny. That was the first internet service provider that I had back in the day. It's like around the days of like Prodigy and before America Online and stuff, so it's pretty funny. Next we got this Tales of the Marvels Blockbuster. This one's a cool acetate cover, kind of in the vein of that Marvel series. I guess more told from the perspective of the everyday people that get affected by the superhero battles in the streets. So that's kind of cool. The art's not as good as Alex Ross, in my opinion, but I just like, it's a pretty thick book, and I'd seen this before. People were asking like $4 or $5 for it, but I wasn't gonna pay that. But to find it for $1, I'll grab it. Next, okay, so this is one of the 2 spec books I got at the con, non-furry related. Oh god, that one just fell. Non-furry related spec. That's what I like more than furry related spec, I guess. This is Chariot #1. This got optioned, I think, last year or the year before. It sells for about 10 or 15 bucks, so I grabbed it for $1. It's pretty cool Jeff DeCall cover, so I just grabbed that. The other book that I bought as a spec book I already sold. It was that Batman Superman #8, that first cover appearance or first appearance of Kara-El, that female Superman or Supergirl that was in the Flash trailer that they debuted on around the Super Bowl. So this booth had a big run of those Batman Superman books, so I think I was probably the first or second one at that booth, so I grabbed grabbed #8 before anyone else could grab it, and I sold it I think 2 or 3 days later. So I put it up almost immediately because I knew it wasn't gonna, the books that get hot with the trailers, you have to sell those quick or otherwise they come back down in price. So I sold that for, sorry, dogs hear something. Sold it for about 25 bucks, I think, so it was a nice flip. Next, got Count Draco Knuckleduster. This is the ashcan version of the book. I don't have the regular version. I just like this art. It's Joseph Schmalke art. He did the Phantom Starkiller book, which I also really like the art too. And I think he's only done like 1 issue of Phantom Starkiller, and I think only 1 issue of this Count Draco Knuckleduster too, which is unfortunate because the art's really good. And the story's all pretty much set up right now because they're just first issues, so kind of hard to tell where it's going or what's going to happen, but I wish he would do more. I think he just does like the first issues and then like a ton of variants, and I think he sells toys and stuff too on the website, on his website, so I'm not sure if he ever plans on making more issues in either of the series, but hopefully he does. I got this one. This is Dark Ivory #1. This is just a Joseph Michael Linsner book that apparently my dogs do not like. Come here, buddy. Okay. Good boy. So I've never heard of this. Most of the Linsner stuff I see is like the Vampirella variants or the Cry for Dawn books. So this one caught my eye. He's got that very distinctive art style, and he does the interiors on this as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I just picked it up for $1. Why not? And got another cool crossover book here. It's DC versus Marvel. This was one of the early crossovers, I guess, from the mid-90s. This was number 4. I think this was I can't remember if this was a 4 or 6 issue miniseries. But this is the first one I've got of this series, and so I'm going to try to get all those. I think number 1's the only one that goes for like more than $1. Like, people ask like $10 or $20 for that, so hopefully I'll be able to find the whole thing in dollar bins. Really happy to find this. This Deathstroke Terminator number 1. This is another flashback to the 90s. I remember when this series launched, it was one of the like DC number 1s that I got. I got like this and Spectre and Ragman. I think all those came out around the same time, so it was fun trying to get all the number 1, the new DC number 1s. This is a cool Mike Zeck cover. When I was looking at Mike Zeck stuff a couple months ago, I saw that he did the covers basically on this whole run of Deathstroke the Terminator, at least the first, good chunk of issues, 10 or 20 issues. He doesn't do the interiors, unfortunately, but he does the covers, which are always really good. And this is the only one that goes for anything more than a few bucks. Well, I think the first appearance of Rose, his daughter or his wife, one of those can go for more than a few bucks, but you can find most of them in the dollar bin, so it's happy to find that. Next, we got Aspers number 5. This is just early Greg Horn art. He does the cover and the interior art as well. It's black and white interior, so his style is not as recognizable, I guess, when it's not in color. But still early. I like collecting the early artwork of the artists that I like, especially when they do the interior, so it's happy to find that one. Next, got a fun G.I. Joe cover here. It's got Duke parachuting in with a Gatling gun. Can't get any more badass than that. It's a John Boyd Myers cover. This is issue 0, I think, cover B of one of the early IDW runs. It looks like it might be a connecting cover too, but I'm not sure. But I've never seen it before, so happy to grab that. Got a cool Moon Knight book here. This is number 49. Really cool cover there. I'm not sure who that guy is. Looks like maybe it's Whiplash. He's got, those are kind of like nunchucks or something with lightning coming out of them. Who knows? Moon Knight has some weird villains. Just trying to get this. I think this is volume 3 of Moon Knight. So I recently finished the Stephen Platt run, so 55 through 60. So those are the expensive ones, so it shouldn't be too hard to fill out the rest of this run. I remember I grabbed a lot of 1 through 25 a couple years ago on eBay for like $20, so that was really cool. It took almost half of the run out in one chunk, so that was nice. But I was happy to find that one. 49. We got a fun Married with Children book, Married with Children Quantum Quartet. It's a Fantastic Four parody. Got a Saturday Night Fever disco ball dancing Mysterio guy, I guess, in there, and then Peg, Al, Kelly, and Bud as the Fantastic Four. So that was pretty fun. Got this Marvel Comics Presents number 19, just a cool Rob Liefeld cover. He's drawing, I guess, is that Arcade maybe? That's Cyclops, not sure who that is. And that's a wraparound cover, so he draws Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and some other people I'm not sure of. Somebody from Damage Control. So never got into that series, so I don't know who those people are. But happy to grab that one. And let's see. Next we got Marvel Knights. This was the special preview Wizard book. And this is cool. It actually came in, it was still in the original Wizard bag. It's got the hologram on there, and it tells you remove liner to expose adhesive. It's not closed, so that's cool. And this is, I guess, the first preview appearance of Yelena Belova. That's her right there. I looked through it. There's some like sketches and stuff of Natasha as Black Widow. I didn't see any of Yelena in there. So this first preview cover, whatever, I don't know. I like the cover. It's Joe Quesada drawing Black Panther and those other characters, so that's pretty cool. Let's see, got Marvel Shadows and Light number 1. This is just a fun anthology book. It's got Bernie Wrightson. I'll open that up. Bernie Wrightson draws a Hulk story in here that's really fun. These are all in black and white as well on the interior. And let's see, who's this? So we got Gene Ha, Gerard Jones, Bernie Wrightson, Lynn Wine, Steve Ditko, Ron Mars, and Brian Stelfreeze. Those are the creators. So it's kind of a cool anthology book. There's the first one. It's got a cool painted style, I guess, for Gene Ha. And then I really like the Bernie Wrightson drawing the Hulk. I'm not a big Bernie Wrightson fan because he draws a lot of horror books. It's just not my thing. I appreciate his art style. I'm just not a big fan of the horror stuff. But I think he does a really good job drawing the Hulk here. I really like that. He does a lot of work, even with black and white. You can see him. Hulk has a sword because you need a sword to kill a dinosaur, I guess. Even the Hulk does. So, it's just a cool one-off that caught my eye. Next, got Marvel Spotlight on Captain Marvel, number 3. Just, I love the Bronze Age Captain Marvel stuff, so anytime I find that for cheap, I'm going to grab it. And this is Miss Marvel, not Captain Marvel, but this is volume 2. I'm slowly trying to piece this one together. This is number 28. It's a cool Greg Horn cover. Looks like Super Skrull on there with these parts: Captain America, Thor, Colossus, and Wolverine. So it's pretty badass. Then we got the annual from Miss Marvel. I'm not sure how many annuals there were. It ran 50 issues, so if they did an annual every year, that would be 4, but I don't know if they actually do annuals every year. So it's a cool Spider-Man Miss Marvel cover. I think it's Greg Horn. Yep, Greg Horn draws that one too. This was just a fun one. The art style caught my eye. Sheldon the Librarian. Never seen it before. It reminded me of like the old Warriors of Might and Magic games, or Lost Vikings, stuff like that. So I just picked it up. It looked like a lot of fun. I haven't read it yet, but the art style just grabbed my eye, so I grabbed it for $1. Got the Star Trek V: The Final Frontier newsstand adaptation of the book of the movie. So this was the first Star Trek movie I saw in theaters, and so it kind of holds a special place in my heart for that reason. It's not the best of those movies. You know, the even numbers are usually the better ones. I think that holds true, especially for the first 6, at least 2, 4, and 6 are my favorites of that bunch. 5 was good. I appreciate it more, I think, as I've gotten older, just because I think the message might have been lost on me when I was a kid. So it's worth a rewatch if you haven't seen it in a while. Next, just got this one. This is the current IDW run for Ninja Turtles, 119. I just grabbed this one because it's an Eastman cover that I didn't have yet, and it was for $1, so can't go wrong with that. Next, Web of Spider-Man, number 11. Nothing really significant about this one. I just grabbed it to fill out the booth that I was buying these at. If you bought like 20 books, he gave you a discount. So this was like book number 20, I think. I was just flipping through pretty quick at the end, and the cover caught my eye. So it's just early Web of Spider-Man stuff. It doesn't go for anything, just cover buy. Got some more 90s goodness here with Wildcats, number 25. The shiny foil cover. I hadn't seen this one before, and this might be a wraparound. They did love their wraparounds. We can hope, especially with these anniversary issues. Oh yeah, it's a wraparound. So that's pretty cool. Oh my goodness, look how shiny that is. Like a mirror. So you got Zealot and Spartan over there. I'm not sure who any of those guys are. I'd stopped reading Wildcats at this point, but it looks like a Jay Lee cover. But I'm not sure if it is or not. But for $1, why not? I love collecting those shiny chromium 90s covers, especially when they're wraparounds. I really like that. Alright. Next, got Wolverine number 26. This is from his first ongoing. Just trying to slowly piece this one together as well. I've got number 1. I've got most of the early issues, except for number 10, that battle between him and Sabretooth. That's the only one that I'm going to have trouble finding for cheap, I think, anymore, just because that one goes I haven't looked recently, but it was up to like 40 or 50 bucks, so it might have come down a lot, just because the market's pretty slow right now. So not a great cover. I'm not sure if this is, kind of looks like Mike Mignola, but it might be somebody else. I'm not sure, but it was only a buck, so why not? And then I got 2 more issues of this Zen Journey of the Mystery King. I got the A and the B cover, I guess. I showed the Joe Mad cover in a different video. I think that was a different volume, or maybe these are just reprints of that same one. I couldn't really figure it out, but there's some cool manga inspired art, so I was happy to find those for a buck. And finish it off with some X-Men. Well, first we got the X-Men parody. The XMen, it's pronounced XMen, which I thought was hilarious because there's no hyphen in there. Since it's a parody, they can't call it X-Men or they were going to get sued. So I like that they tell you how to pronounce it, XMen. So that was funny. And then on to some actual X-Men books. This is Uncanny number 508. I just picked this up, this little run, because Greg Land does the covers and the interior art as well. So I got 509. I really like that Psylocke cover. I think this is my, when I was cataloging these in my list, this is the second version of this. I didn't even look to see if I had a copy when I was grabbing them. I assumed I didn't, but apparently I did, because this the Psylocke cover, that was just really cool. I like it a lot. Then we got 510. Got Goblin, was it Goblin Queen and the White Queen? Or was it Goblin Queen? I can't remember. Whatever the Mr. Sinister lady is. And then 511. It's a cool Phoenix cover, so I was happy to find those. And another X-Men book. This is X-Men Forever Alpha. This just reprints, I think, the first 3 or 4 issues of the X-Men, the adjectiveless X-Men from the 90s, the Jim Lee one. And there's 2 versions of this. You can see it kind of cuts off, so there's a version with more art on the top, and it's a connecting cover. So this is the first one. I don't know if the connecting covers are different in the guts of the books, or if they're just different covers. But this one says Alpha, so the other one might be Omega or something, but I'm not sure. But it's a nice thick book, and just a different cover than the original X-Men, so I was happy to find that one for a buck. This is kind of a throwback to that era as well. This is X-Men Legends, number 5. This is a current series that's going on. They kind of go back in and fill in some of the stories between those 80s and 90s X-Men storylines, so that's kind of fun. And this one's done by, the cover is done by Will Portasio, and the interior is done by him as well. So it was nice kind of seeing him come back to X-Men and create a Bishop, of course. And I got some more Bishop goodness. X-Men Unlimited 29. There's a little, this Maximum Security storyline, I think, was a 2 or 3 issue run in this series. And this is just Brett Booth again. That's why I grabbed it. He does the cover here with really cool Bishop, Miss Marvel, and Rogue there. Really like that cover. And he does the interiors as well. So happy to find that. And then last book here, X-Men Unlimited 35. This was just a cover by just a cool motorcycle cover with, I guess that's Rogue on there. It's some leather pants and a leather cutoff shirt, and then Wolverine looking very pensive in the background. And I opened this up and didn't even know David Finch does the interior art on this, so that was a nice surprise. Always fun to get a surprise on the interior when you're buying something just for the cover. So that's going to do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you later.